Hey guys, today we're going to talk about self-compassion and self-awareness. So, I like to use the term awareness interchangeably with the word consciousness, right? So, it's the idea of starting to pay attention and expanding our consciousness about what we're doing, how we're spending our time, what we're thinking, where we want to be headed, right? All of that. So it's really hard to make any kind of change or any kind of progress or all of the things that we want if we don't have an understanding of where we're at right now, right? So if I am a runner and I want to improve my time, I can't really do that if I don't know what my time is right now, right? So we're thinking about this idea of creating self-awareness and then practicing self-compassion. Step number one of the awareness is just like taking a temperature. So I'm just timing my 400-meter run right now, knowing that I'm going to pick up the pace and train for a faster race next time. So that is the whole point of this. So what I want you to do is I want you to start noticing that inner dialogue that you're having with yourself, or where you're at right now in terms of how you present yourself and how you show up in the world. If you think about it on a scale of 1 being like, I really am like not doing my part, I'm not where I want to be, I'm not feeling so hot, versus a 10, which is like, yeah, like I'm crushing it. I show up how I want to most days, even days that feel really hard. I still am allowing those days to be hard and painful, but I feel overall really, really good. So if you take a temperature right now, where would you rate yourself on that scale? 1 being like, nah, I'm not showing up very well. I'm not doing what I want to be doing. I'm not becoming the person that I want to be. 10 being amazing, making great progress, feeling real good. Even on the days where I don't feel my best, I still am, as a whole, knowing that I'm making progress even when I have bad days, right? So thinking about just, can I create more awareness of where I'm at in the present moment? And so that is a practice in just this mindful acceptance almost, right? We don't have a choice. We can't jump from point A to point Z. I know we all wish that we could skip the hard work that happens in between, but if that were the case, we would all be these perfect kind of robots working perfectly in sync, and life would be really boring and we wouldn't have anything to achieve or to work on and to grow. So when you catch yourself thinking about, I wish I was already doing this thing already. I wish I was already better at this already. I wish I could figure this out already. Taking a moment to just pause and say, okay, where am I right now? And how does that feel for me? And how is that serving me? And what would feel even better, right? So we created that awareness because now we're thinking about like, okay, this is where I'm at and I can't change that immediately. So what's the next best thing that I can do? And I think a lot of us have this tendency to like berate ourselves and judge ourselves and criticize and really use that like tough love, thinking that that's going to help us and that's going to propel us forward. And we all do it. We all do it. It's an evolutionary primal thing. So when we think about way back to when we were hunter-gatherers and all that good lifestyle stuff, it was really important that we kind of were mean to ourselves so that we could stay alive. We would threaten ourselves so that we could stay part of a group, because if we didn't stay in the group, we might be exiled from the group and then we could get attacked by a tiger or have to face a hurricane alone or whatever other natural disasters or experiences could happen. It was literally life-threatening. Versus now, where experiences aren't as often life or death, but our bodies and our brains are still responding in that way. So since we know that, we can almost use it to our advantage. And given that we've kind of learned a lot, researched a lot as a society, we know that that's not the most helpful way to be 24/7. So, what is more helpful is once we create this awareness and I say, okay, this is where I'm at right now, and that's kind of just a fact. This is where my life is at the moment or how I feel I'm doing in this certain area of my life. And I want to make some improvements there. Cool. We took a temperature. We have somewhere to start. That's amazing. Then we want to practice self-compassion. So rather than the berating and the judging and the criticizing and all of the stuff that kind of warps in our head over and over and over again, we want to practice this idea of being kind to ourselves so that we feel more inclined and more motivated and more encouraged to make those changes and make them in a healthy, productive way rather than like intimidating and bullying ourselves into doing something, because that's not going to feel good. And more likely than not, you're not going to stick to it, right? So that change won't be long term, even if you get an immediate result. So as an example, let's say that I want to really work on being more outwardly friendly in my life. I feel like I am a friendly person, but I don't always do a great job of saying hi to people first or being that warming energy in the office, right? So that's kind of where I want to make some progress. I see my best self really showing up in that way. The person who says hi first, the person who makes you feel welcome in the office, the person that you look forward to getting a hello from every Monday morning, right? Right now, I'm almost so busy or in my own headspace that I don't do those things, but they are a really big value to me because I value human connection and I value strong social relationships and I value giving love to other people, right? So if that's something that I'm working on, if I go to work one day and I realize that it's noon and I haven't said hello to anybody, rather than me saying to myself, Chelsea, you're such an idiot. This is never going to work. You're never going to be that kind of person. Give up on yourself. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. All of that fun noise and all of those stories. No one likes you because you don't say hello. All of that. I'm probably going to feel pretty bad. It's probably going to spike my stress, spike my anxiety, spike my sadness or depression, spike the unhelpful things, unworkable things that I've been kind of cycling through in the past. So now that I have the awareness, the self-compassionate side of me might look like, wow, today went really quickly. I noticed that I didn't get an opportunity to say hi to anybody, and that's okay. This was a busy day. What could I do differently tomorrow that might feel a little bit better? Is there anything that I could do to help myself remember to try and show up as a more helpful person or to try and show up and say hi to more people? And so an idea that I might come up with is, let me set like a silent alarm on my phone for 8:15 where I'm going to just say hi, and that's going to remind me to look up, see who's around me, and just say hi. Or do something that my best self would do in that moment. And so by practicing self-compassion, I'm acknowledging that I'm having a feeling in the moment, and then I'm just being really nice and gentle with myself. So a good way to do this is to think about what might a loving friend say to me in this moment? Or what would I say to someone I really love and care about in this moment? If I knew that they were working towards this thing, if I knew that they really wanted to improve who they were, how they were as a person, what would I say that would be encouraging and supportive? Because I think if my best friend were working on being more outwardly friendly or showing up as a warmer energy, and she had a day where that didn't happen, I don't think that I would go up to her and be like, yeah, you suck. You're never going to be this way. This is a goal you're never going to accomplish. You're never going to step into that next version of yourself, and people really just don't like you. I don't think I would say that. Do you think you would say that to your best friend or your mom or your sister or your brother? Probably not. So what we want to do is craft the ability to start practicing that with ourselves so that we can move onward and upward. So what I want you to do as an exercise today is think about a self-compassionate statement that you could say to yourself pretty regularly. So sometimes it can be hard to come up with something in the moment. So having one or two self-compassionate statements that you can refer back to pretty frequently might be really helpful. So that might look like something, I know I'm not perfect and I love myself anyway. I show up every single day and I try my best, and that is good enough, and I am loving and I'm compassionate and I have a good drive behind me. I have good intentions. And I can repeat that to myself rather than the berating, unhappy, unhelpful dialogue that I've been used to. So start with that. This is for self-compassion and self-awareness. For our next steps to stepping into our best, fullest versions of ourselves and kind of keeping on that process and keeping with that experience of who we really want to be, how we want to show up in this world, what we want to support, what we want to stand for, what we really value. And I think if we all place a little bit more emphasis on doing that, we'll have a ripple effect in our lives. So I'll leave you with that today, and we'll check in again soon. Bye.